With the grassy field behind us, Caden and I now walk upon a path made of smooth, shiny stones. This supposed church is nowhere in sight, despite Caden's constant reassurances that we are, in fact, very close. "You're sure?" I ask again. "Positive," he replies. "I think." That's the closest thing I'm going to get to a guarantee in this world. Caden picks up one of the stones and throws it down the path, like skipping it across the surface of a pond. "You think there are others here?" I ask. "Like, maybe the people who made this place?" "Maybe," Caden replies. "I kinda hope it's just the six of us, though. Call me selfish, but I don't want to share this place with anybody else. It's ours." That possessive tone of his gives me the creeps. This might be the only chance I get to talk to Caden in private, so I give voice to the one thing that's been worrying me since finding him. "What happens when we have to leave?" "Look!" he shouts suddenly. "There it is!" Caden points out in the distance. At first, I think he's just trying to dodge the question, but then I see it. A large building, standing alone, out in the open. It looks abandoned, but before I can properly assess the situation, Caden's off and running again. "Race you there!" He darts off, going from 0 to 100 in the blink of an eye. A shockwave of stones sprays out from behind him, pelting me across the arms and chest. So much for our conversation. He can't run forever, I tell myself. Sooner or later, we're leaving, and I'll drag him from his dreams if that's what it takes. Kicking and screaming. I run toward the building at a normal, humanly possible pace. Caden's waiting impatiently at the front doors. As he had mentioned earlier, the building does look like a church, just not like any church I've ever seen before. It's made entirely of glass, the doors included. Stained glass, created with a specific design in mind that I can't recognize from the outside. The glass is rather foggy, so I'm unable to see inside. The church is quite tall, topped by an oddly shaped roof, as each tile is slanted in different directions. A tall tower situated behind the main building stores a large golden bell at its peak, hovering freely above the tower without any sort of ropes or pulleys to keep it in place. What's the point of a bell if it can't be rung? "What took you so long?" Caden asks with an eager smile. He's relishing just how much this world suits him compared to me. "You get lost?" "Sorry," I grunt. "Can't quite break the sound barrier yet. Maybe you could teach me sometime?" "I'll think about it. Quite the place, huh? I wonder what's inside." "Let's think about this first. What if it's a trap? Kale, judging from those mad skills you showed off, we've got nothing to worry about." Caden gently pushes the glass doors open and steps inside, his sword drawn. If I had $1 for every damn time he's done that, I'd have enough to buy 2 dream worlds of my own. Why do I even bother? I sigh. I release my weapon from its magnetic frame and follow Caden into the glass church. The building feels even larger from the inside. Its roof stretches high over my head, and its walls extend far off on all sides. Glass pews are lined on both sides all the way from the entrance to the far end of the church. 8 glass pillars rise from the ground up to the roof, and as I look up, I can finally see the secrets of the stained glass. Painted across the walls are a maze of twisting and bending roses, with green, thorny stems producing luscious red blossoms. The ceiling is covered by a beautifully illustrated white dove, looking over the roses as their guardian. The slanted construction of the roof creates an optical illusion so that with each step I take, the dove's wings actually appear to flap, as if it's flying overhead, guarding those underneath. The stunning architecture has cast a spell on me, but Caden is immune to such wonder. His sword is pointed to the altar. It takes a moment, but I see it too. We're not alone. At the far end of the church is a tall, slender woman. She's standing in front of the glass statue of a praying angel. Faint beams of light filter in through the stained glass, bathing the woman in a gentle sunlight. Even from this distance, I can tell the mysterious woman is beautiful, but the spear on her back tells me that she's also dangerous. I anxiously look over to Caden for some kind of attack plan, but the woman has him transfixed. He lowers his weapon and remains silent as he steps toward her. Was she some kind of witch? Had she hypnotized him? What the hell, Caden? I whisper. You know I could hear you boys since you came in, right? Asks the silky voice. I grip my weapon tight as the woman turns around. Cora? Caden whispers. My weapon nearly slips from my hand. Cora giggles and nods. She steps out of the light and off the altar. Up close, she's something alright. I can already feel myself blushing. Her once brown hair is turned a stunning shade of red, braided to one side. She glows with the same skin Caden and I have been bestowed, and her fiery eyes shone brightly too. A pale pink dress hugs her frame quite comfortably. The dress billows down from her body and sways as she walks, like a cloud at sunset. She's an angel. You look... I trail off, lost in her eyes. You look... I look... She teases. Got an ending to that? Cora twirls her spear effortlessly in one hand, displaying her apparent mastery of the object. Caden is mesmerized. I clear my throat, embarrassed by my own gawking. How did you get here exactly? I asked, trying to act cool, but the damage has clearly been done. I woke up here, actually. Was just about to leave when you two showed up. This place is... Yeah, no kidding, I mutter. Any idea where the others could be? Nope. Guess we better start looking. Maybe it would be best if you stayed here, just in case we run into trouble, I recommend. I regret the words the moment they leave my mouth. Cora's eyes are set ablaze. You're having a laugh, she snaps. Let's go. She pushes past me and walks down the aisle on her way out of the church. I look to Caden, who seems to have something to say. What? I ask. I thought I was being chivalrous. I don't think she has that spear just for show, he says, patting me on the back. I shake my head and reply with a shrug. Girls. We follow Cora out of the church, but not before I take one last look at the dove above. A tear has formed in its eye, but it might just be a trick of the lighting. Something tells me that I'll never feel safer in this world than I do in this church, under the vigilant watch of the dove. Where to now? Cora asks as she takes in our beautiful surroundings for the first time. See anything else up on that mountain of yours, Caden? I ask. You climbed a mountain? Cora asks. Well, I kind of woke up on one, Caden replies as if it's no big deal. But yeah, pretty much. Come to think of it, I did see a jungle. Been there, done that. Nothing there but a damn toucan. Okay. That's about it then. What about that? Cora's pointing to a plume of black smoke rising on the horizon. Smoke like that usually means a fire. Looks ominous enough, she says. It's better than nothing, Caden says. Before I can stop him, Caden once again bursts into a sprint that could rival the Flash. Cora stares on in amazement. Yeah, he does that sometimes. I mutter. You know, she whispers hesitantly, he was the first thing I thought about when I realized what this place was. You can guess why that's a bad thing. Caden's just having a bit of fun. He'll come around when it counts. How much have we lost in service of Caden's fun, I wonder? Dwelling on a thought like that can make a person bitter. I try not to think about it. Thankfully, something else catches Cora's eye and she changes the topic. What's that thing on your back? She asks. I pull my weapon free and spin it around a bit, showing off my newfound skills. She hardly seems impressed. I don't know, I answer honestly. It was with me when I woke up. Here, want to try? Cora nods and takes the strange weapon from my hands. She marvels over it for a moment, but then it abruptly rips free from her grasp and flies back into my own hands. She looks at me, all puzzled and accusing. I didn't do that on purpose, I state. I stare at the object carefully, drawing the conclusion that it's somehow connected with the weird markings etched onto my hands. Try holding mine? She requests. I place my weapon onto my back and take her spear in my hands, waiting for it to fling back to Cora as my weapon had. It stays put. I juggle it back and forth, waiting for some involuntary movement, but nothing happens. Something's different, I conclude, handing her weapon back. Some weird dream world logic going on. She takes it with a liquid disappointment. There's a sudden rush of wind, and Caden's back in our company, looking anxious. I found it, he says. It's a village, or what's left of it. Something went down. Something bad. My stomach turns to stone. This is exactly what I was afraid of. Any signs of the others? Cora asks. You better follow me, he replies. I don't like the sound of that one bit. Cora and I exchange worried looks before following after Caden. The trek to this village takes us away from the stone path, and the glass church fades in the distance. We enter into a quiet little grove, but the smell of smoke taints the serene setting. We're close. The small grouping of trees offered by the grove peters out into a clearing. Inside is a little community hidden from the rest of the world. This must be the village, or as Caden had said, what's left of it. The houses are on fire, and dead bodies are everywhere, some charred, some cut to pieces. This is a nightmare. What the hell happened here? Cora asks. The sound of rustling leaves nearby puts me on high alert. All three of us have our weapons drawn before we even know where the noise is coming from. A cloaked figure, half buried in bushes, is waving us over. Mildly suspicious. Josiah? Caden whispers. The cloaked figure overdramatically nods and waves us over even more enthusiastically than before. He's keeping quiet for a reason, I figure. I duck low to the ground and scurry over to his hiding spot in the bushes. Cora and Caden push in behind me. Between the four of us, there's barely enough room. Up close, I'm able to see how the dream world has changed Josiah. The black cloak he's wearing is covered in constellations, all in a state of constant flux. Strapped across his back is a long metal staff with golden clouds and sparks spiraling up the handle. At the top are 4 golden hands, perpendicular to one another, holding up a floating blue jewel. He looks like some kind of sorcerer. We got a Potter fan over here, Caden teases. You and Kale look like you've been watching too much anime, Josiah fires back. Now shh! I don't think it's over. You don't think what's over? I ask. Josiah refuses to say another word. Instead, he points into the ruined village and braces for what's to come. Amongst the flames and corpses, I spot movement. A group of men and women, armed to the teeth with spears and swords, tiptoe through the destruction in a phalanx formation. The clinking from their metal armor mixes in with the crackling of the fire. They must be some kind of army, but something tells me that they aren't the ones who did this. They look ready for a fight, Caden whispers. An unfamiliar voice echoes through my mind. They're coming. Stay out of sight. They're coming.